We'll go ahead and get started with Coach Sprinkle, who wants to open us up for questions.
Perfect. I'll open it up. I guess first thing, we had a couple days off, which was nice after that Southern game. We needed it. We're still a little banged up. Still don't have Hannes, don't have Bryson, obviously Christian, Marty, Jacob, and then on Saturday, Lathan rolled his ankle, and we're literally the sprained ankle capital of the world right now, and but it's just got to find a way to get through it. And so, we weren't able to practice much on Saturday, and obviously Sunday was off, and kind of tried to get after it a little bit today, just trying to keep the guys in shape and doing a lot of dummy 5-on-0 stuff. But we're gonna have to get used to playing some funky lineups, and it might have to be 5 guards at times. But our guys, I still like our group. I like the way we move the basketball. Even when we do got 5 guards out there. But we're gonna have to figure out some different things. Whether it's defensively and offensively to get through.
Offensively, you guys struggled a little bit last time out. I think you guys shot 41%.
We scored 99.
I know, right?
What the hell do you want?
I know, right?
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
You guys shot 41%, got to the foul line a lot to score, but with a smaller lineup, how does that change things trying to run your offensive sets?
Yeah, it's been hard because a lot of these guys they don't know our sets at different spots. And so that was the challenge, obviously with the Southern game. But I thought our guys, just getting basic ball movement, our motion, being able to play, 2-man games like spacing and things like that. That's the stuff that we've been trying to clean up.
And what guards do you feel the most comfortable running your offense when they're out there?
All of them.
So even any of them, Kamari, Zoom, any of them, you feel really comfortable with them?
Yep.
And so how does that affect defensively? Because you guys have been so physical all year long, rebounding the basketball. You guys have a lot of big men out. How does that change things from that perspective?
Yeah, that's where you got to find a way. They may be bigger than us, but if we're playing 4 guards, then whoever's at those 3 and 4 spots, and a lot of times teams are switching 1 through 4 anyways, so guards are getting changed on to bigs regardless. Even when we are playing big, and so at the end of possession, but now it's just every time, like guards got to get physical, they got to get into the big's legs, they got to box out. And the one thing is, even if there is bad bounces, like 50-50 plays, like you have to come up with those. And I thought that's where Southern, I thought Southern did an excellent job of anytime there was a long rebound or kind of a loose ball, they were quicker to get to it, and that's something that we can't afford to have, moving forward.
So are Hannes and Bryson and even Lathan, are they all questionable or are they out of
Yeah,
free
questionable. I wish I knew more. But obviously, Hannes and Bryson, they haven't even jogged yet. So.
Wow. Also, after that Southern game, did you see a noticeable, feel good atmosphere around your team for a number of days?
Yeah, obviously we gave them the 2 days off after that, and I told them literally they needed to get away from us, and because we'd been traveling so much, we hadn't had many days off, and a lot of I'd love to give our guys Sundays off. But with our schedule, I think we played Baylor on a Sunday. We had another game on a Tuesday, so we had to practice on those Sundays. And so even their days off, like they still had class and things like that. So I wanted to make sure that, they just kind of went and got some mental time to themselves, some, healing, getting the, rehab, get with the athletic trainer and things like that and rest their bodies because they needed it. But then once we did get back to film on Friday morning and things like that, we showed them the good. But we showed them the bad, too, the stuff that we do have to correct if we want to continue winning.
And Desmond Claude obviously gave you guys a huge pickup.
Huge, yeah.
You can just tell he's like almost NBA ready. Just the way he acts. He just acts very confident on the floor. Mm-hmm. And, all these guys are similarly talented, but I think his edge is that he's just such a veteran player.
He is. He's played so many high-level basketball games, like 2 years at Xavier, last year at SC, him being, an all Big Ten player. He scored a lot of baskets and he's been in a lot of high-level environments. Like, he's not afraid of anything. And just the way he plays, he's seen every type of defense. He's had teams trap him every time he came off the ball screen. He's had teams throw 2-3 guys at him. And so, all those experiences that our young 18-year-old guys, they haven't gone through that stuff yet. And that's hopefully he can help teach our young guys that, just by watching him play or practice. But like I said, like he hadn't done anything for 6 weeks. We hadn't gone 5-on-5 with him in practice before that game. That's why he kind of started cramping up. And I thought we spread his minutes out pretty good. In no way, shape, or form did we ever think we were going to play him 34 minutes with the overtime. But with the timeouts and the amount of time he was able to rest on the bench, it wasn't that big of a deal.
And with a guy coming off a month-long injury like that, you a little surprised at all the contribution he was able to make that night?
Yeah, I mean, I would have never guessed he was going to get 20 points. But like I said, I had no idea he was going to play that many minutes either. And still be, somewhat fresh until the very end. I think the first time he cramped up was on that the game winner in regulation where he went the length of the floor. And so, but credit to him, like he's just a baller. He just is. Like he's a guy that, he came out, scored 7 straight points. His first 3 after literally not playing for 6 weeks. He comes out and he's just right in rhythm, bam, And so he's just one of those, he's got a knack to put that ball in the hole.
I'm curious, you talked about giving the guys a couple of days off. How do you handle that time when you have 9 days between games?
Yeah, I mean, our staff, we were doing the same thing. We're gearing up for, Nevada, and obviously, the 3 teams that we got to prepare for this weekend. And then also, like, figuring out different ways we got to help our team, with these injuries that we're dealing with. Like, what small ball lineups work together. What's some different things offensively or defensively that we can do with different lineups, because it's coming. And so that's kind of where we spend our time, and then obviously just recruiting.
And then you looking at a guy like Kamari, you talked a little bit about him playing all 50 minutes in
Yeah.
that game. Moving forward, do you expect him, obviously not to play every single minute of every game, but how do you see his role continuing to grow as he continues to get healthy as well, coming off the hamstring, and just playing the lineups that you have to at this point in time?
Yeah, I mean, Kamari's huge for us because he does everything right. And that doesn't mean he's going to make every shot, but he's always in the right position. He's always like fighting through screens. Like he guarded their best player and played 50 minutes, and still had the energy to put it into overtime, and so, but he's just one of those guys, like he's always doing the right thing. So you're always comfortable. It's hard to take him off the floor, to be honest. For one, he's one of our best shot makers from 3. So we need him on the floor to space, for spacing purposes, because people have to guard him. And it opens up Dez and Zoom and these other guys like JJ driving the basketball or Frank rolling to the rim. And so, I mean, that's where he's lethal, and that's why we obviously recruited him, and we need to keep him, confident and shooting the ball at a high level because he's a difference maker for our team.
Just how have the injuries sort of challenged your creativity there? Like, are you pulling things that you've never ran before?
No, we're just trying to find different guys learning different spots. That's been the biggest challenge with this team. Is okay, Wesley. Now you got to learn the 2, 3, and the 4. Okay, Zoom, you got to learn the 4. And Zoom picks things up quick, and that's why we kind of put him at the 4 spot because and it's not even the 4. Like we're playing 4 guards, it doesn't really matter. But initially he might start there because he is really good at picking up plays and running different actions. And so, but other than that, like, I mean, a lot of it's stuff that we've been running. They just haven't been necessarily in the spots that they've been.
Just your thoughts, just of kind of to where you guys are, your thoughts on sort of Frank and just of his journey, his career, and just how valuable he is now, and for him to stick it out and to be the healthy guy, with everybody sort of falling.
No, exactly. And just, I mean, you guys know Frank, like, he's a big teddy bear, man. He's the best kid. Like, he is. He's awesome to be around every day. He's a great leader. And I'm glad to see him, like, out there, like, enjoying it. And you could see that last 10 minutes of regulation. His energy propelled our whole we don't win that game without Frank. Like, his ability to block shots and play with the energy. He had 2 big-time dunks. And we need that I need that for 40 minutes, not just the last 10. Like, he showed what he can do. But, like I said, like, this was the first, preseason where he was healthy the whole time. Off season, from the day the season got over, he got into great shape. He got his knee in great shape. Now mentally he's in the best space he's been in. And he's just going out and playing reckless, which is what we need.
Yeah, I picked out who said, I think it was Q on the radio interview. He said that the one thing that Frank does that gets overlooked is that he sets good screens or gets
Great, yeah.
and you sort of sort of touched on it out there. What does that do, and just in terms of the screens that he sets and the space that he's able to create for others?
Yeah, well, I mean, we need it. Whether he's sprinting up, setting a lot of ball screens, and then it creates an advantage. Then we can get a 2-on-1 if our guard does his job. But whether it's getting, Wesley or Kamari open off pin downs and things like that, that's the stuff that nobody sees. Sometimes all you see is, oh, those guys came off and made the three or made a shot. But no, if Frank doesn't do his job, we don't even get the shot off. And so that's not just Frank, that's a lot of bigs. Like Lathan's been setting some good screens too. Hannes sets really good screens. To be able to create advantages for our guards or to get 2 on the basketball, which is every level of basketball right now. Everybody, you're just trying to get 2 on the basketball, and now you're getting teams in a scramble. But Frank's been a huge part of that.
And then this week you're returning to a place that you know. What was it about last year that kind of went so well for you guys there? Does that familiarity sort of help this week? And what are you expecting this week?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, really, I guess Wesley and Desmond played there last year. Obviously, SC was at the same tournament, and then Frank and Zoom. But everybody else, it's brand new. Totally different teams we're playing this year. And it's gonna be a challenge. But I think, the one thing that went well for us last year is, we played with great pace down there. And I think the first game, Tyler shot the ball really, really well. I think he had 27. Hit a bunch of threes against Santa Clara and got us off to a good start. And then we beat a great Colorado State team, who made the NCAA tournament, and won a game. And so, we played really well. We shared the ball really well down there. But at the end of the day, it was one of those games last year where we made a bunch of threes.
You only had 8 guys at practice today.
Yeah.
And that includes BJ.
Yep. Yeah.
Funny things happen, fouls happen, guys get knocked around, and you've got a game the following day that you don't even know what time it is.
Yep.
Is there a chance we see BJ Roy?
I mean, possibly. All hands got to be on deck. And the one thing that kid can do is shoot the basketball. Obviously he hasn't, played at this level a ton and all that, but I mean, if he gets an open shot, I trust he's going to knock that thing down. And, and like I said, we may need him.
Again, back-to-back games. Kamari played 50 minutes against Southern. What's realistic max number of minutes for Frank on opening night?
I don't know. The one thing is, I think some people kind of overestimate, 2 games. It's like having 2 hard practices back-to-back in the preseason. Like when we practiced in September and, we might go for 3 hours back-to-back. It's just like that. There's so much dead time in college basketball, whether it's reviews or media timeouts or other timeouts. Dudes get fouled, they're shooting free throws, you're sitting there for a minute. I mean, our guys are in good enough shape to where I think Frank, if he had to, he could play 30 minutes both games. I really think that. And, same thing with Lathan, and these guys. But now it's just how tough are we up here? Are we tough enough to play when we're tired and not foul, not have breakdowns? And that's where we have to continue to get better because we'll have great intensity in spurts of the game, but now we got to be able to sustain that intensity for longer periods of time.
I keep on looking over at the guys that aren't practicing, and it's obvious Maddie's done. I look over at Jacob. He's still limping a little bit, but, reinforcements. What's some realistic return dates for some reinforcements? And you've also got Nikolai. Is it
Nicola, yeah.
Nicola.
Yeah, he should be here, like December 10th, 11th, 12th, something like that. But, yeah, with Jacob, probably that first week of January is kind of what we're shooting for or hoping for. If everything goes well in his rehab process. And like I said, Hannes, Bryson, Lathan, it's day to day. Hopefully this weekend for at least 2 of them.
Jacob's not in a boot. What can he realistically do? What's he do for his rehab right
now?
Yeah,
he just got out of his boot, so he's actually starting to wear his shoe. I think on Friday or Saturday was kind of the first day, that we saw him without a boot on, just kind of walking around. And, that's probably a question I got to get with the trainer to ask. But it's just now it's kind of breaking him in with the pool rehab, the non-bearing weight treadmill, and things like that to kind of just slowly loosen up his foot, because like I said, he had surgery 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago. I don't even know what probably about 7-8 weeks ago is when he had the surgery. And so, you know, it'll take a little bit of time, you know, to get his, you know, flexion back and things like that. But, I mean, if you know Jacob, I mean, the one thing, he's very almost military. Like, you tell him 6 a.m. it's this, 7 a.m. it's this, 8 o'clock. Like, he's going to do everything he possibly can to get back in the shortest amount of time.
Just being down in the desert, any non-basketball activities planned there? I know there's a golf course on every corner down there.
I wish I could get out there and golf, and but no, I mean, we'll get down there tomorrow night. You know, we're gonna have dinner with Detlef Shrimp down there at his place, and so I know our team's excited. I know Detlef's excited, and then after that, it's just game time. You know, I mean, we'll be preparing. You know, the guys will have practice down there once or twice before that first game. I think our first game's at 1:30. You know, on Thanksgiving Day. You know, and then obviously we'll have a Thanksgiving meal that night and get ready for the second game.
You know, after the last game, you talked a lot about sort of playing defense without fouling. Now that your numbers are low, is that like a big sort of point of emphasis going into this next game?
Huge point of emphasis, because I'm glad you asked that, because Nevada is one of the best teams in the country at drawing fouls. You know, I mean, they're, I think, 11th in the country at drawing fouls and getting to the free throw line. And so, you know, we have to do a tremendous job, like keeping our guys in front, chesting up, being disciplined, you know, not going for fakes. And they're quick. They got some really good players, bigs and smalls, that can really get the ball to the paint and put a lot of pressure on you. And so we have to do a great job. And we don't have the bodies. Like, we have to do a great job, you know, being in position and packing it in and making these guys score over us.
You know, and it doesn't seem like that's just one player, but with Frank, though, like, he goes for a lot of stuff, and Mizzou go for a lot of stuff. What can they do better there? I mean, just without, is it just anticipation or just trusting, or just what do you think?
Yeah, a lot of it's just kind of, you know, just kind of that feel for the game. You know, like, everybody knows Frank's going to come try to block the shot, you know, but now it's like picking and choosing his times. Like, I thought at the end of that last 10 minutes, he was great at it. Now, a lot of it was when we were in our 1-3-1 defense, where he was protecting the rim. But now he's got to be able to kind of be able to bluff at guys too, because when they go, like, they know he's there, and we're like, hey, sometimes guys miss shots just because they think you're coming, but now you got to sometimes bluff and get back and box your guy out and just kind of keep the offense off balance.
You know, and to that there, are you a big zone defense guy? Because it didn't seem to be, but it feels like you have to be now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. You know, my teams in the 6.5 years have been probably 90% man. And then probably 10% 1-3-1, where we kind of have, you know, we sprinkle it in at different places, like we had to the other day at Southern. We really haven't even put it in, to be honest. And so, you know, because we haven't had the bodies to do it. I don't want to have to play it this weekend. We haven't been practicing it, and so we'll have to figure it out. But I'm not there is, we're going to have, some sort of zone, whether it's a 3-2 or a 2-3 zone, to be able to slow some people down and change the tempo.
Thank you guys for the time.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Coach.